Okay, yesterday we just completed this question from May June 23, पेपर 4 वेरिएंट 2 क्वेश्चन नंबर 2। अच्छा, आज हम ये करेंगे थोड़ा सा जो क्वेश्चन कॉन्सेप्ट वाइज हमें इजी लगेगा लगेगा कि मतलब इसमें डायरेक्ट फॉर्मूला अप्लाई करके सॉल्व करना है। हम उसे स्किप करके थोड़े डिफरेंट वेरिएंट्स देख लेंगे, ठीक है? क्योंकि कल काफ़ी सारे क्वेश्चन हमने सीक्वेंस में किए, बहुत इजी भी थे उसमें और कुछ थोड़े से डायरेक्शन वाइज टिपिकल भी थे। So today we try to figure out some different concepts in general physics section. Okay, question 1 part A. Figure 1.1 shows a helicopter which is stationary at a height of 1500 meter above the ground. State two conditions necessary for helicopter to remain in equilibrium. अभी क्वेश्चन मैंने इसलिए स्टार्ट करवाया ताकि जिसको इक्विलिब्रियम की कंडीशंस याद नहीं है तो वो एक बार रिकॉल हो जाएगी. So what are the two conditions for the state of equilibrium?
No result.
ओके, सो फर्स्ट पार्ट इजी था कि आपने सिर्फ दो कंडीशंस मेंशन करनी थी, जिसमें टर्निंग इफेक्ट इट मींस सम ऑफ ऑल मोमेंट्स जीरो होना चाहिए, सम ऑफ ऑल फोर्सेस जीरो होना चाहिए. सेकंड पार्ट, अच्छा आप में से किसी को भी कंफ्यूजन हो, नहीं समझ आए, आप पूछ लेना क्योंकि हम जितना जल्दी हो सकेगा क्वेश्चन करेंगे क्योंकि काफ़ी सारे पार्ट्स बहुत इजी होते हैं. तो अगर कहीं पर कंफ्यूजन हो आप रोक के पूछ लेना, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. Okay, so the mass of the helicopter is 3200 kg. Calculate the change in gravitational potential energy as it rises from the ground to 1500 meter. So that is also simple. 4.7 exponent 7 joules. Okay. So सबको पता है पोटेंशियल एनर्जी का फॉर्मूला यूज करना है आपने. 3200, 9.8, 1500 और जो आंसर मेंशन किया है वो मैंने 4.7 एक्सपोनेंट 7 जूल्स. आंसर्स आप लोग का अगर कैलकुलेटर है क्रॉस चेक कर लेना, अदरवाइज कॉन्सेप्ट समझ आ गया तो आंसर्स आप बाद में भी वेरीफाई कर सकते हो. ओके, सो इट शोज अ वर्टिकल स्पीड टाइम ग्राफ फॉर अ पैराशूटिस्ट हु जंप्स फ्रॉम अ स्टेशनरी hot air balloon. The parachutist jumps from the balloon at time t is equals to 0 and reaches the ground at b. So the point A indicates where the parachutes open. So on figure 1.2, you need to label a point on the graph where the acceleration is 0, where acceleration is negative, and where acceleration is decreasing. So marking करनी है 1 2 3. 1 वहां पर मार्क करना है जहाँ acceleration 0 है. So definitely जहाँ speed constant होगी वहाँ acceleration 0 होगी, ठीक है? तो 1. और अच्छा यहाँ पर A की बात की है उन्होंने, पैराशूट ओपन्स, ठीक है. 1 और -2, डिक्रीजिंग 3. ये वाला पार्ट भी काफी लोगों ने खुद से किया हुआ है तो उसमें इतनी कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. अच्छा, ये वाला आपके पास इस फ्री फॉल मोशन में सबसे ज्यादा रिपीटेड कॉन्सेप्ट है. ये आपको कई बार प्रीवियस पास पेपर्स में भी मिला होगा और इसमें आपने इन टर्म्स ऑफ फोर्सेस बताना होता है कि जो पैराशूटिस्ट का चेंज आता है, अब वो आपसे डिफरेंट डिफरेंट सिनेरियो पूछते हैं. कभी वो ओवरऑल पूछते हैं, कभी वो बस पैराशूट ओपन होने तक का सिनेरियो पूछते हैं, कभी वो इसके बाद का सिनेरियो पूछ लेते हैं. सो डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट हैं. अच्छा, यहाँ पर अब आपने इन टर्म्स ऑफ फोर्सेस एक्सप्लेन करना है द चेंज इन मोशन विच अकर फ्रॉम व्हेन द पैराशूटिस्ट लीव द हॉट एयर बलून अंटिल पॉइंट ए। अंटिल पॉइंट ए का मतलब ये है कि पैराशूट ओपन होने तक, क्योंकि ऊपर क्वेश्चन में था एट पॉइंट ए द पैराशूट ओपन्स। सो वहां तक आपने जो है वो उसे एक्सप्लेन करना है कि फोर्सेस में किस तरह से चेंज आएगा। तो सब ये आंसर कर लेंगे, किसी को कोई कंफ्यूजन? आप इनिशियली स्टार्ट करोगे, body starts to
Right,
accelerate.
sir, can you show the previous question? All right, got it.
So basically in second part, you have to start with the concept that when body starts to fall, so due to the weight, it starts to accelerate. So start में आपने acceleration का concept mention करना है, ठीक है? Body starts to accelerate, weight in downward direction. और इसमें एक resultant force का concept भी आप साथ साथ लिखते रहा करो, because when body starts to move in downward direction, so initially the weight of the body is greater than air resistance. तो जब आप इन दोनों का डिफरेंस फाइंड आउट करोगे, सो डेफिनेटली देयर विल बी सम रिजल्टेंट फोर्स। तो आप हर थोड़ी उस कॉन्सेप्ट के साथ जो है वो रिजल्टेंट फोर्स भी मेंशन करते रहोगे, सो दैट विल आल्सो गिव यू मार्क्स फॉर योर एक्सप्लेनेशन। और आपके पास एक एक्सप्लेनेशन को कंप्लीट करने का कंप्लीट एक आइडिया भी हो जाएगा, वरना आपको लगेगा कि हमने बहुत शॉर्ट लिखा है या कुछ मिसिंग है। सो इनिशियली बॉडी स्टार्ट्स टू एक्सेलरेट ड्यू टू वेट इन डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन एंड द रिजल्टेंट फोर्स increases as the air resistance increases. With the increase in the speed of a body, कि जैसे जैसे टाइम पास होता रहेगा बॉडी की स्पीड इंक्रीज होती है, सो एयर रेजिस्टेंस आल्सो स्टार्ट्स टू इंक्रीज और रिजल्टेंट फोर्स डिक्रीज होना शुरू हो जाएगी। एक्सेलरेशन भी डिक्रीज हो जाएगी और फाइनली जब एयर रेजिस्टेंस बैलेंस कर लेगी बॉडी के वेट को, when air resistance the weight of a body terminal velocity it moves with constant speed. तो सबका फ्रेज करने का अपना अपना स्टाइल होता है, लेकिन जो स्टेप्स हैं वो आपको पता है कि स्टेप्स आपने किस किस तरह से लिखने होते हैं. इनिशियली द वेट स्टार्ट्स, वेट विल बी ग्रेटर देन द एयर रेजिस्टेंस, सो resultant force increases. After some time air resistance starts to increase, so acceleration will starts to decrease. और थोड़े टाइम बाद एयर रेजिस्टेंस विल बैलेंस द वेट ऑफ द बॉडी एंड बॉडी स्टार्ट्स टू मूव विद द टर्मिनल वेलोसिटी. तो ये क्वेश्चन था. ठीक है, इजी था ये भी. Okay, so in question number 2, it shows a motorcyclist accelerating along a straight horizontal section of track. The motorcyclist and motorcycle have a combined mass of 240 kg. So the combined mass of motorcyclist and the motorcycle is given, that is 240 kg. On the straight horizontal section of the track, the motorcyclist accelerates from rest at 7.2 meter per second square. So straight road पर on horizontal section, the motorcyclist accelerates from rest at 7.2 meter per second square. The motorcyclist reaches the end of the straight section of the track in 5.3 seconds. Calculate the speed of the motorcyclist at the end of straight section. So we have to calculate the speed of the motorcyclist at the end of the straight section. So acceleration is given 7.2 meter per second square. Mass is given, time is given, velocity is unknown. So again, it is very simple to find out. 38.2, okay. Simple, आपने acceleration का formula use करना है. Acceleration is equals to, so velocity is unknown. Acceleration is 7.2, time is 5.3. So speed will be equals to 38.2 or round off 38. Calculate the resultant force on the motorcyclist and motorcycle on the straight section of the track. So now we have to calculate the resultant force. Resultant force, the first formula in our mind is F equals to ma, because mass is given in the question, that is 240 kg, and acceleration is also given 7
1700
1700, okay.
newtons.
1728 Newton, okay. So basically you will get answer 1728. But again, round off to two significant figures, 1700 newtons, right? Okay. At the end of the straight section, the track remains horizontal but bends to the right, as shown in figure 2.1. When the motorcyclist reaches the bend, she travels around the bend in a circular path at a constant speed. So velocity is a vector quantity. State how a vector quantity differs from a scalar quantity. That is very
Has
simple.
direction.
Yes,
Has magnitude.
right.
Wait, no, no. Yeah, no, it has direction.
Yes. And we know that in a scalar quantity, we only have magnitude. There is no direction.
Magnitude.
Yes. Okay, part two. Describe what happens to the velocity of the motorcyclist as she travels around the bend at constant speed. So now they are asking about what happens to the velocity as she travels around the bend at constant speed. So question will clearly mention it that there is a uniform circular motion because she is like traveling around the bend at constant speed. कल भी हमने questions किए थे circular motion से related. So in circular motion, always remember the speed of the body remains constant. And when the speed of the body remains constant, so it means speed is a scalar quantity. So it means they are only asking about, they are only talking about the magnitude. So only the information about magnitude is given. There is no information regarding direction is given in this question. So basically, when they ask about any question related to the circular motion, related to the curve around the corner, so always remember the direction of the body changes. You can see when it starts to curve the direction. So at each point, the direction changes. So due to change in direction, acceleration produces. Because velocity is a vector quantity, so that's why they ask about happens to the velocity. So in the first part, they automatically gives you the hint of vector quantity. तो आपको first part में hint मिल जाता है question से related. So when they ask about the velocity, what happens to the velocity? So basically,
Changes.
velocity changes because of change in direction. Okay, part three. Explain why there must be a resultant force on the motorcyclist as she travels around the bend. Again, they are asking about resultant force when she is traveling around a bend. So why there must be a force? So now again the same idea because of change in direction of the velocity, or we can say because of change in the direction in the velocity, acceleration produces, right? And due to that acceleration, acceleration is directly proportional to force. We all know that by using Newton's second law, F equals to ma. So that's why resultant force also produces, which is always towards the center of the circle.
Because there's a constant change of direction.
Yes, because acceleration produced, magnitude wise कोई change नहीं आया, magnitude is same because speed is same, but due to the velocity there is change in direction, and due to change in direction acceleration produced due to change in direction and acceleration is directly proportional to the force. So there must be force acting towards the center. ठीक है, तो बस ये सर्कुलर मोशन में ही ऐसा होता है कि आपको ये डायरेक्शन वाली बात माइंड में रखनी होती है, वरना अक्सर याद नहीं आ रहा होता कि इसको एक्सप्लेन कैसे करना है। अच्छा, ये भी हमने कल किया था एक पाइथागोरस थ्योरम से रिलेटेड, ये भी सेम उसी तरह से होगा फर्स्ट पार्ट, और फिर उन्होंने डिस्टेंस पूछा है। ठीक है, तो ये वाला आप लोग ट्राई करना। ठीक है, किया भी होगा, तो अगर नहीं होगा फिर हम इसे डिस्कस कर लेंगे। तो ये 23 तक के क्वेश्चंस थे, ये जो अभी स्विमर वाला क्वेश्चन एक हम स्किप करके आगे जा रहे हैं। तो अब जो है वो 22 के स्टार्ट होंगे। ठीक है, तो अब प्रीवियस ईयर के क्वेश्चंस हम देख रहे हैं। सो इन प्रीवियस ईयर 22 सिलेबस वाज ओल्ड, सो कुछ क्वेश्चंस ऐसे होंगे, कुछ टॉपिक्स ऐसे होंगे दैट वाज नाउ एक्सक्लूडेड इन न्यू सिलेबस। ओके, सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 3, it shows the cross section of a barrage built across a tidal bay. The barrage is part of a tidal power station. The gates are raised to be open when the tide comes in, and the gates are lowered to close when it is high tide. And figure 3.1 shows the water level in the open sea and the tidal bay. So in figure 3.1, you can see the lower water level and the open sea. So the gates are raised and water flows through the turbine. Complete the sentence to describe the energy transfers which take place when the gates are opened. So a statement is given. You have to complete this statement by using the uh, terms given in the question. So dash type of energy of the dash in the dash is transferred to. So basically, to understand this whole concept, you need to know about this whole idea. Basically, it is working on the concept of the tidal waves, right? So definitely when tidal waves are moving, So what type of energy they actually contains? Gravitational potential, right? Because
Gravitational potential,
yes,
to
so
kinetic.
they have potential energy, and definitely we will fill in the first column, gravitational potential. Gravitational potential energy of the water in the dash, in the tidal bay. Because you can see the level of the tidal bay is at the higher water level and the level of the open sea is at lower water level. So definitely when you open up this gate, so this water from the tidal bay starts to move on the other side. Is transferred to the kinetic energy in the rotating, definitely turbines. The energy is used in the generator to produce electrical power. So this is the sentence. Then we have state one advantage and one disadvantage of tidal power as an energy resource. So one advantage, one disadvantage of tidal power. So any advantage in your mind related to the tidal energy or the tidal?
Renewable.
It is renewable. Okay, good. So the first basic advantage is it is renewable. तो हम इसे बार बार यूज कर सकते हैं easily. So that is renewable. That is the advantage. Secondly, one advantage is it is completely pollution free process. Or we can also say it also consists of very low cost. And if we talk about one disadvantage,
Cost, high cost.
right, you can also write doesn't release harmful gases. That is also right. And if we talk about the disadvantage, so disadvantage is that construction is like very expensive because first time we have to construct, but after that running cost is low. But construction is definitely costly. And definitely it is not available all the day. This is the main problem with each type of renewable resource, that this resource is not available all the time. So there will be limited time period for that resource. And final part is state the main source of energy uh, for tidal energy. So what is the main source for tidal energy?
The moon.
The moon.
All right, the moon.
Yes. Basically, if you just study from the book, so in books, in the new books that I also uploaded in the drive, so all the details of all type of resources are given in there, and you don't need to explain that why it happens, how it happens. So that's why it is additional topic to study or to discuss that how it happens or why this is the source for it. Okay, this is related to momentum. Okay, so question number two shows a tennis ball approaching a tennis racket. The tennis ball hits the racket at a speed of 52 meter per second. This is tennis ball with a speed of 52 meter per second. And the average force on the ball during the time that is in contact with the racket is 350 Newton when it is in contact. And the speed of the ball after it leaves the racket is 26 meter per second in the opposite direction. The mass of the ball is 58 grams. Calculate the change in momentum of the ball while it is in contact with the racket. So you have to calculate the change in momentum. So how to calculate the change in momentum? Momentum is equals to final momentum minus initial momentum, or m is equals to v minus u. So mass is given mass is not, mass is given 58 grams. Force is also given and two speeds are given. So when ball is moving in forward direction, so speed is 52 meter per second. But when ball is moving in opposite direction or it bounces back, so the speed is 26 meter per second. और लास्ट टाइम भी हमने कॉन्सेप्ट डिस्कस किया था दैट वी हैव टू यूज टू डिफरेंट साइन. लेट्स सपोज इफ वी आर टेकिंग forward speed as positive, so the second will be definitely negative. Mass is given 58 grams, so we have to convert into kg, so divided by 1000, so it will be equals to, okay, your answer is 1.5. Okay, so 0.058 is the mass of the ball in kg, and the final speed is, we use minus sign with the final speed, that is minus 26, minus initial speed is 52. So minus minus plus, so definitely it will be add up, and you know that we just use minus sign for the direction, but in your answer we don't need to write the minus sign because minus sign only shows you direction. So your answer is 1 point. You are getting 1.51. Okay. So we added up 26 and 52 multiply by, answer is 4.5, 4.52. Or round figure 4.5 kg meter per second. Clear? Any confusion? सेम वही डायरेक्शन का प्रॉब्लम होता है, अदरवाइज कॉन्सेप्ट इज वेरी इजी. और नेक्स्ट पार्ट देखते हैं। ठीक है, इसमें बस डायरेक्शन को फॉलो करना है। सो आफ्टर दैट आपके आंसर्स भी करेक्ट आएंगे, वरना आंसर्स में प्रॉब्लम होगी। स्टेट एंड इक्वेशन विच डिफाइंस इम्पल्स इन टर्म्स ऑफ द फोर्स एंड टाइम। वेरी सिंपल, सिर्फ इम्पल्स की आपने डेफिनेशन को इक्वेशन फॉर्म में मेंशन
Force into time.
किया। यस, impulse is equals to force into time, and calculate the time that the racket is in contact with the ball. So now we have to calculate the time. So according to the formula, the time is given. No, time is not given. Force is given. Force is given and speed is given, mass is given. So you have to calculate the value of the time. So how to find out the time?
Change in momentum over the force.
Change in momentum over force. Because we know impulse is also equals to change in momentum, and impulse is equals to force into time also. So force into time is equals to change in momentum. So this formula is actually look like this, and we have to find out the value of time. So time is equals to change in momentum over F. F is equals to 350 Newton.
0.013.
0.013. Okay, right. Final part, calculate the difference between the values of the kinetic energy of the ball before and after the impact with the racket. So you have to find out the difference. So अब हमने difference find out करना है before and after the impact with the racket. So we know the formula of kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is equals to half mv square. So हमने before kinetic energy and after kinetic energy को find out करके उसे subtract करके और फिर उसका change find out करना है. तो इनिशियली अगर आप इसमें से हाफ और मास को कॉमन भी ले लो, so then it will also be easy for you to find out the values. Initial velocity is 52.
Wait, so what's the mass?
Mass is 0.058.
Okay.
So now you just need to multiply, you will get your answer.
59 joules.
Yes, sir. 59 joules.
Right, 59 joules. 59, okay. So an aeroplane accelerates along a horizontal runway before takeoff. So it is actually accelerating along a horizontal runway before takeoff. And it accelerates for 35 seconds. The speed of the airplane when it takes off is 72 meter per second. And it shows the speed of the airplane varies when time between 0 to 35 seconds. Define acceleration. Very simple. Rate of change of velocity. And now you have to calculate the average acceleration of the airplane between time t is equals to 0 and 35 seconds. So now we have to calculate average acceleration. It means like a total velocity divided by total time. So the total velocity is 72. So yesterday, Abdullah, you asked this question that if there is a curve line is given, so what we have to do with that graph, either we have to use the formula, either we have to use the gradient. So now you can see in this question, they are specifically talking about average acceleration. So average means overall. So that's why we choose this overall speed plus the overall time. So you will get your answer for acceleration. So average acceleration is equals to the average velocity divided by the total time. That is 72 divided by 35.
2.057 or 2.1.
Okay, 2.1 meter per second square. Part 2, the combined mass of the aeroplane, its passenger and its fuel on takeoff is. So this is the total mass given. Calculate the average resultant force on the airplane between time. Again, t is equals to 0 till 35. Okay, right. I also got your answer in chat 2.1. So mass is given. We have to find out average resultant force. Again, the same time, it means acceleration is already given. To find out the force, the first formula is from Newton's second law, F equals to ma. 1.1 exponent 5 into acceleration 2.1. So it is equals to
230,000.
230,000, right? Initially, we are getting this value like this. and we can round it off to, right, 2.3 exponent 5, right? You can also write in that form.
Sir, in which situations do we not simplify?
Basically, always we try to round off the answer into two significant figures, right? But let's suppose it is like good approach if in your question values are given in scientific notations like this. So also try to write your answer in scientific notation, right? So that will be a good impression. So now you can see
Okay,
that
sir.
your answer is very lengthy. So it is better to convert this answer into the scientific notation. This answer is also fine, but if you can easily convert into that one, so that will be also fine. So we can convert 2.3. So this is the answer of the force. Okay, in part 3, the force provided by the engines of the airplane is constant. Give one possible explanation for the change in acceleration of the aeroplane between time t is equals to 0 and 35. So you have to mention one possible explanation for change in acceleration. Basically, the force provided is constant. So the force that is provided is constant. So force is not changing because if force changes, so we know that F equals to ma means force changes, acceleration changes, but the force provided by the engines are constant, but there is also a change in acceleration. So what is the reason for that change in acceleration? Any idea that why the acceleration of the aeroplane changes? So answer is very simple. They only mentions about the force provided by the engines. But when airplane starts to take off and it is continuously, so air resistance due to change in air resistance, it also starts to change the resultant force. So the one reason is the air resistance or the wind. So due to change in air resistance or increase or decrease in the air resistance, acceleration produces. So due to change in air resistance, because the forward engine force is constant, but the backward force applied by the air resistance may be variable, और उस वेरिएबल फोर्स की वजह से ही एक्सेलरेशन प्रोड्यूस हो सकती है easily because your resultant force will be different. On figure 1.2, sketch a graph to show how the acceleration of the aircraft varies between time 0 and time 35. So acceleration is given on y-axis, time is given on x-axis. So you have to show the graphical representation from time t is equals to 0 to 35, or this is the initial graphical representation for speed time graph. So basically you can see initially speed is increasing and after some time speed is decreasing, more decreasing, and At 35 seconds, it ends up the graph with the value of 72 meter per second. Okay. So when you have to draw for the acceleration, so we know that initially we have the highest value of acceleration. So we start from the highest value, let's suppose. And initially in the previous graph also, there must be some straight line, like a constant gradient. So constant gradient means the acceleration is also constant for some time. And then it starts to decrease. So it also starts to decrease. And then it starts to become constant almost at 35, like this. Because acceleration is not completely zero, it starts to gradually decrease, but it is not completely equals to zero. And then it starts to move with the same acceleration, right? So this is question number 1. ये वाला पार्ट भी आप ट्राई करना, क्वेश्चन नंबर 3 शॉर्ट है, इजी है. Okay, question number 2.
Wait, sir, I've done this 1 second.
Okay.
Sir, what paper is this?
This is October November 22, paper 4, variant 2. Okay, basically, you may check your question also. This question is also simple. Basically, the purpose of solving this question again, because this is related to the measuring quantity, that how to measure the quantity. So basically, there are some doubts, like some students only write, use this instrument to measure this and just find out the final answer. There are some important things like 1 mark, they will give you 1 mark for writing the step that repeat this process again and again and then take the average value. So this is very important steps. Like in this question, you can see a pendulum swings
Wait,
with a
sir, I think I got it.
okay,
Wait, can I answer? Can I answer?
okay,
All right, so you first use a stopwatch to time the oscillations, and
right,
then you record multiple of the
hmm,
oscillations and then divide it by the total time taken,
right,
and then you determine the period.
right. So that is the proper way in any type or any category of the science. Whenever we try to perform any experiment, so we never take one reading, we take like multiple reading or sets of reading, and then we divide with the number of time that we record that reading. So then we reach that final answer for one single time period or any single quantity for any specific experiment. So basically in this, you have to find out the time period, which is approximately 1 second. So we will never do like just we just start the pendulum and record the time for one oscillation. So that is not the right way. So you have to perform this experiment like we just start the oscillation, and it's up to you that let's suppose we count 10 oscillations. First, it starts to move in forward direction, then in backward direction. So 10, 15, 25, आपकी जो भी चॉइस हो आप उतनी ऑसिलेशंस काउंट कर सकते हो और वो मेंशन भी कर सकते हो यहाँ पर. So we have to use a stopwatch to record the time. Let's suppose for 10 oscillations of the pendulum, and then divide the value of time by 10 to get the time period. And the important thing, repeat this experiment for multiple time. So this is the method. And next we have complete 2.1 by writing in each space of the right hand column which one of the following devices is used to measure the quantity in the left hand column. So we know that some of the names are excluded. You can see thermocouple is no more included, and this micrometer screw gauge. We have another instrument, vernier caliper. So these are like the names of the instruments in the old syllabus. But we know that for the volume of water in a glass, what we have to use to measure the volume, right? We have to use measuring cylinder. And what about width of a small swimming pool? Meter rule, right? And finally, thickness of a piece of aluminium foil. So definitely that is very like sensitive. We need very sensitive device. So that is micrometer screw gauge, definitely. Yes. So this is the question. This part is also simple. You just need to use basic formula of gravitational potential energy and pressure. Okay, let's see. In this question, they are asking about the moment also. Because we know that in new syllabus, they will only ask the question regarding forces of 90-degree. So in this question, let's see how many parts are included in new syllabus also. So the total mass is 62 kg, and she holds herself in horizontal equilibrium against a vertical cliff. She pulls on a rope that is fixed at the top of the cliff and passes her feet against the cliff. And this is the whole scenario given in the diagram. So first of all, we have to calculate the weight. That is very simple. W equals to mg mass is 62. Value of G is 9.8. So answer is 607 or round off. Again, in the next part, they are asking about the two conditions. So हमने two conditions को mention करना है of equilibrium. So ये repeated part है. Previous भी अभी एक paper में हम कर चुके हैं. Sum of all forces 0 होना चाहिए. Sum of all moments 0 होना चाहिए. Now part C, the climber's center of the mass is 0.09 0.90 meter from the cliff. So जो climbers का center of mass है that is 0.90 meter. Now you have to calculate the moment about her feet due to her weight. So अब आपने moment calculate करना है. Center यहाँ पर भी mark है already. 0.90 is the center. This is the total distance and you have to calculate the moment about the feet of the body. We know that 610 is the total weight acting in downward direction. So this is the weight acting in downward direction. And in question, it is mentioned that 0.90 is the distance from the center. So we use this value as the moment arm of the body. So force is 610, moment arm is 0.9. So we can find out the moment by using the formula. Five 46. So this is the answer for the moment of the body. Okay. Question number 2.
Has magnitude and has direction.
Yes. So you can see this is again repeated concept and you have to mention two features of vector quantity. So we know that the first factor is the magnitude and the second one is direction. And again in the second part, they are asking about the name of the two other quantities that are vector. So you may write any two names, velocity and displacement. Okay.
Velocity and momentum.
Velocity and momentum. So there are so many quantities. It's up to you. Next part, a student suspends a spring from a clamp stand and measures the length L naught. So spring is suspended at a clamp stand and measures the initial length L naught of the spring. As it is shown in the diagram. And the next part is the student then suspend loads of different weights from the spring and measures the length of the spring for each load. He then plots a graph of the length of the spring against the weight, and figure 2.2 is the graph that the student plots. So this is the graphical representation of the student for all the weights that is suspended. Using figure 2.2, determine the initial length L naught of the spring. So we have to determine the initial length L naught of the spring. So how to identify the L naught of the spring? हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई कर सकते हैं that what is the value of L naught? क्योंकि ग्राफ में तो बहुत सारी वैल्यूज हैं, there are so many values. So what is the initial length? What is the L naught? So in question, you can see a student suspends a spring from a clamp stand and measures the length L naught of the spring. So initially जो लेंथ थी वो L naught थी, उस पर कोई भी weight connected नहीं था. So according to that, when there is no weight connected with the body, so this is the point when no weight is connected with the body, and this value is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 boxes, so it will be equals to 0.12. Right? Because when original is length of the spring is given, it means no load is connected. So definitely we have to choose the value without the load. And the next part is state what is meant by the limit of proportionality, and using figure 2.2 determine the weight of the load that causes this spring just to reach the limit of proportionality. So first of all, you need to define what is the meaning of limit of proportionality, and then you need to determine the value of the weight that causes this spring just to reach the limit of proportionality. So we know limit of proportionality is the point extension is not directly to the load. और अगर हम ग्राफ में से वो वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करें कि जहां पर लिमिट ऑफ प्रोपोर्शनैलिटी जो है जस्ट स्टार्ट होने वाली है, सो उस पॉइंट पर आपने वेट को फाइंड आउट करना है. So you can see there is a proper straight line through a long distance, but after 10, and this is 11. Yes. So close to 11, you can see it starts to curve. So that is almost 10.8. This is 10.8. So after 10.8, it starts to change uh, the gradient. So it means we will write like 10.9 or 11 also. So 10.9, we will write the weight at which the spring just reached the limit of proportionality. And in the third part, use figure 2.2, determine the spring constant of this spring. और ये part भी बहुत simple है, because for spring constant, force must be directly proportional to, or load must be directly proportional to the extension. F equals to kx. K is equals to F over x. तो हम कोई भी वैल्यू चूज कर सकते हैं जहाँ डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल आपको नजर आ रहा हो इजीली. तो 10, 0.4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0.5, 0.52, 0.54. So 0.54 is the length and 10 Newton is the weight. And one more thing, initially the spring started from 0.12. 0.12 मीटर जो है वो स्प्रिंग की ओरिजिनल लेंथ थी, तो उसमें से सब्ट्रैक्ट करना पड़ेगा हमें क्योंकि जीरो से स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ है ग्राफ. ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज है. तो ये जो एक्सटेंशन है 0.54, तो ये डायरेक्ट 0.54 नहीं लिखना हमें, इसमें से ये वैल्यू सब्ट्रैक्ट भी करनी है ताकि जो अनस्ट्रेच्ड स्प्रिंग की वैल्यू है वो सब्ट्रैक्ट हो जाए और ओरिजिनल जो है एक्सटेंशन वो वैल्यू हम यहाँ यूज कर सके. So this is equals to 10 divided by 0.54 minus 0.12, 23.8. That will be equals to 24 Newton per meter. ठीक है, तो ये वाला पार्ट भी कंप्लीट हो गया. इसमें बस एक इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज ये थी कि जो अनस्ट्रेच लेंथ होती है उसको सब्ट्रैक्ट करना होता है, वरना अगर आपने उसी के साथ उसे सॉल्व कर दिया तो फिर वो एक्सटेंशन नहीं होगी, एक्चुअली वो टोटल लेंथ आप कंसिडर करके सॉल्व करोगे, फिर आंसर में डिफरेंस होगा. ओके, नेक्स्ट. Okay, we have question number 2. Water is held behind a dam in a hydroelectric power scheme. So state the main form of energy stored in the water behind the dam. So what is the main form of energy stored in water behind the dam?
Is it kinetic
Okay,
or
No, I think
internal?
it's gravitational
it's
potential.
gravitational, right?
Hmm?
Because
Yeah.
it is
What?
because water is behind a dam, right? It is not moving right now. So that's why in dam we know that water is at a certain height. So definitely gravitational potential energy is stored in it. So यहाँ पर
All right.
yes, gravitational potential energy होगी or when the water starts to move, so then it converts into kinetic energy. And part B, the water is released from the dam and falls a vertical height of 410 meter. So this is the vertical height at a rate of 480 kg per second. अच्छा बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस में ये रेट वाला कॉन्सेप्ट गिवन होता है. So the concept of the rate is very simple. You can see mass and time. Two quantities are given at a single uh, in a single number, and we have to calculate the rate at which the energy is transferred by the falling water. So height is given 400 and 410 meters and a rate of 480 kg per second. So this is the rate from which the water falls at the height of 410. So now we need to calculate the rate at which the energy is transferred by falling water. So rate of energy transfer. Rate of energy transfer means joules, because the SI unit of the energy is joules, and rate means divided by time. So we have to find joules per second actually. Joules per second means energy over time. So in short, they are asking about the power. Okay, 1.9 exponent 6. Okay. So basically we have to find out power, because power is equals to work done over time or energy over time. So we have 480 kilogram per second. So we just simply use the idea of gravitational potential energy also mgh. So that will also give you the right concept, because mgh divided by time. So that will give you the same idea. तो आपकी चॉइस है, आप इसे उस तरह से भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. और जब ये मास के साथ टाइम गिवन है, तो ये m ओवर टी ऑटोमेटिक आपको ये सेम m ओवर टी का कॉन्सेप्ट देगा यहाँ पे. बाकी सारी वैल्यूज जो है वो सेम है, क्योंकि टाइम पर सेकंड है, तो सेकंड 1 second विल बी 1. सो वी जस्ट मल्टीप्लाई ऑल द क्वांटिटीज टू फाइंड आउट. So 1928640. This is the value, or rounded off, that will be equals to 2000. और next part है, the power scheme supplies a current of 270 ampere at a voltage of this, or calculate the efficiency of the power scheme. अब इसमें इलेक्ट्रिक करंट इन्वॉल्व है. वैसे इलेक्ट्रिक करंट का बेसिक फॉर्मूला सबको ही याद होगा, so we can solve this part also. So it supplies the current of 270 ampere at a voltage of 6000 volt. Calculate the efficiency of the power scheme. So efficiency means useful output divided by total input multiplied by 100. So power is equals to voltage into current, because now there are electrical quantities given. So power is equals to 6000 into 270. So this is the value we are getting, 162000 watt. So basically we got the value 1.6 exponent 6 watt.
I think it's 84%.
Right. Or initially we already calculated the rate of energy transfer. So input output, now the values both are given. So efficiency is equals to useful output divided by total input. So I'm getting 81%, right?
Sir, if you use 1.9, it's a different answer.
Basically this is old paper and they are using the value of G as 10 and we are using 9.8 because we are going to appear in exam with new syllabus. So that's why we are practicing with 9.8. So that's why I'm getting round off answer in the first part of the B. So I'm getting 81%. But in marking scheme, you will also find 81, 82, two different answers because some students may round off or some student may not round off. So that's why there are two different answers for this 81% or 82%. You are getting 84.
Yeah,
Okay.
84.2.
84.2. अच्छा, आपने इनपुट और आउटपुट पावर की वैल्यूज को सेम यूज किया राउंड ऑफ, या एग्जैक्ट जो आंसर आया आपने उन्हें यूज कर लिया विदाउट राउंडिंग देम
No,
ऑफ?
no, I just did 1.6 over 1.9.
ओके, 1.6 ओवर 1.9. ओके, 84. ठीक है, उसमें कोई इतना प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर आप नीचे 1.6 कंसिडर कर रहे हो तो वहां पर भी 1.9 कंसिडर किया जा सकता है. तो कैलकुलेशन वर्किंग आपकी सही होनी चाहिए, तो उसमें इतना परसेंटेज एफिशिएंसी में प्रॉब्लम नहीं करते, क्योंकि आपने आउटपुट इनपुट सही मेंशन किया है और उन्हें आइडेंटिफाई सही किया, आउटपुट इनपुट को सही यूज़ किया, फॉर्मूला सही यूज़ किया, तो मार्क्स मिल जाते हैं, उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं होता। ओके। और सी पार्ट है, हाइड्रो इलेक्ट्रिक एनर्जी इज अ रिन्यूएबल फॉर्म ऑफ एनर्जी। स्टेट one disadvantage of hydroelectric power scheme and state one other name of renewable source of energy. So what is disadvantage of using hydroelectric power? Hydroelectric means to generate electricity with the help of water. So कोई एक disadvantage, और क्योंकि हम इसे सी वाटर या रिवर्स वगैरह में यूज कर रहे होंगे तो डेफिनेटली वो मरीन लाइफ को भी डिस्टर्ब करेगा। ठीक है, फिशेस नॉर्मली, और कंस्ट्रक्शन भी डेफिनेटली आपके पास एक्सपेंसिव होगी। तो डैमेज टू द हैबिटेट्स, और कंस्ट्रक्शन इज कॉस्टली। एंड स्टेट वन अदर रिन्यूएबल सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी। So there are so many other renewable. Biofuels, okay.
Tidal.
Yes. So tidal, geothermal, these all are the other renewable source of energy. Okay, now so many questions are you can see on the same pattern and very much similar to each other. We just ignore these types of question with random angles. You just only need to practice with 90-degree angles. Okay, let's see this question. Question number 2. Okay, so in this, it shows an object of mass 2 kg on a bench. This object is connected by a cord passing over a pulley to an object of mass 3 kg. Okay, so it shows the mass of an object of 2 kg, and it is connected with another mass of 3 kg, and the 2 kg mass is released from the rest, accelerates at 4 meter per second square. Now you have to calculate the resultant force acting on 2 kg object. So how to find out the resultant force on it? So by using Newton's second law, the formula will be F equals to ma. F equals to ma, mass is 2 kg, acceleration is 4, so that will be equals to 8 Newton. Part B, calculate the upward force exerted by the cord on the 3 kg object. So now we have to find out this upward force exerted by the cord on 3 kg object. This force is unknown, so we have to find out this force. So how to find out the upward force exerted on the cord? Because in this question, we have two bodies. The first body is of 2 kg and the second body is of 3 kg. And we know that the 3 kg body is hanging with the string. So definitely the weight of the body is acting in downward direction. तो सबसे पहले हम ये 3 kg बॉडी का वेट कैलकुलेट कर लेंगे W इक्वल्स टू mg. तो m is 3, 9.8, तो 29.4. So 29 Newton is the force exerted in downward direction on body B because of gravitational strength or the weight of the body. So this is the first force acting on the object of 3 kg. Now, if we talk about the second force, like any other force that is acting on the string, so definitely that is the force exerted by the second body of 2 kg on the string in this direction. So that will be equals to the resultant force तो अगर 3 kg मास की बात की जाए तो 3 kg बॉडी का मास जो होगा वो 3 होगा और एक्सेलरेशन अगर एक बॉडी एक्सेलरेट कर रही है फोर्स से तो सेकंड भी फोर्स से एक्सेलरेट कर रही होगी तो दैट विल बी इक्वल्स टू 12 Newton. So on 3 kg mass, the resultant force is acting 12 Newton. So we have one force acting 29 Newton in downward direction, and the second force is acting in opposite direction, that is 12 Newton. So in this part B, what we have to do, we have two forces, one force that is acting in downward direction minus that is acting in the opposite direction. This is 29 minus 12. So 17 Newton is the resultant force. तो ये क्वेश्चन में थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट पार्ट था फोर्स से रिलेटेड बट इजी इस सेंस में था कि आपको पता है कि बॉडी बी जो है वो यानी 3 kg ऑब्जेक्ट जो है वो हैंग कर रहा है विद थ्रेड सो डेफिनेटली द फोर्स विल बी एक्टिंग इन डाउनवर्ड डायरेक्शन और सेकंड फोर्स विल बी अप्लाइड ऑन द स्ट्रिंग विद द हेल्प ऑफ द फर्स्ट बॉडी ऑफ 3 kg. एंड पार्ट सी द ऑब्जेक्ट हैव अ कांस्टेंट एक्सेलरेशन ऑब्जेक्ट की एक्सेलरेशन कांस्टेंट है and it shows that the speed of the object 0.80 seconds after release is 3.2 meter per second. Constant acceleration, and after this time, speed is 3.2 meter per second. So now you have to show that speed of this object is 3.2. So acceleration is already given in the question, which is 4 meter per second squared. And in question it is mentioned acceleration is constant. So acceleration will be equals to 4 meter per second squared. So according to the formula, velocity is equals to acceleration into time. So 4 multiplied by 0.8, 3.2. So you can see speed is equals to 3.2 meter per second, just like the same given in the question. Part 2, a card of width 2 centimeter is fixed to the 2 kg mass, और अब 2 kg mass के साथ एक कार्ड फिक्स किया है. As the 2 kg object moves to the left, the card passes through a beam of light that is perpendicular to the card. So using the speed given in part C, 1, जो अभी हमने 3.2 कैलकुलेट किए, calculate the time taken for the card to pass through the beam of light. So now we have to calculate the time taken. So we have to use the same value of the speed that is given in the previous part. And now this time we are talking about a 2 kg object. So basically this time distance is given. So v is equals to distance over time, or time is equals to distance over speed. So distance is given in centimeter, उसे हमें meters में convert करना होगा. So time is equals to 0.02 meter divided by velocity is
3 point.
0.2.
And the answer is 0.63 seconds.
0.00.
Wait, sir. How did you get what you, oh, okay, my bad. No, it's okay. Yeah, the final answer is 0.63.
0.63
No,
only.
0.63.
Okay,
Oh, wait, yeah, no, sorry, my bad. Yeah, 0.063. Correct.
okay. Or you can also write in scientific notation 1, 2, 3. So this is the time. Okay, this part is also simple, and the last part is also related to the electrical power. So you may also solve this part by yourself. This is easy one. Okay, this part is related to the pressure. So figure 2.1 shows water is stored in a reservoir behind a hydroelectric dam. State the form of energy stored in the water in the reservoir that is used to generate electricity. Again, they are asking the same idea. What is the energy stored in the water in the reservoir that is used to generate electricity? You can see in reservoir, water is stored till the height of 150 meter. So definitely this is gravitational potential energy. So in the first part, the energy stored is gravitational potential energy. And in part B, the turbine is 150 meter below the level of the water in the reservoir. And the atmospheric pressure is 1 exponent 5. And the density of water is 1000 kg per meter cube. Calculate the total pressure in the water at the turbine. Okay, so atmospheric pressure is given, density is given, height is given, and the total pressure we have to calculate. Total pressure means pressure in liquid plus एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर. ठीक है, हम ये डैम और रेजर्वायर की बात तो कर रहे हैं, तो डेफिनेटली वाटर स्टोर्ड है तो प्रेशर इन लिक्विड तो कैलकुलेट होगा. एंड सेकेंडली atmospheric pressure is already given, so we just need to add that atmospheric pressure to find out the total pressure in the water at the turbine. So the total pressure is equals to pressure in liquid means density, gravitational strength into height plus atmospheric pressure 1000 into 9.8 into 150 plus 1 exponent 5. And plus it equals to
1.57
hmm,
into 10 to the power of 6.
right. Or you can also round it off to 16, like 1 6, or we can also write down 1.6 exponent 6.
Oh, wait, yeah, two significant figures.
Yes, pascals. And the turbine has a cross-sectional area of 3.5 meter square. So cross-sectional area is given and we have to calculate the force exerted on the turbine by the water. So to find out the force, now we have to use the basic formula because this time area is given. So pressure is equals to force upon area.
5.6 times 10 to the power of 6 newtons.
Okay. You already calculated pressure. And in the final part, the water flows to the turbine through a pipe of constant cross-sectional area. Explain why the kinetic energy of the water in the pipe remains constant as it flows through the pipe. So why the kinetic energy of the water remains constant?
Its velocity remains constant. Its mass remains constant.
Yes. So basically, with the help of the formula of kinetic energy is equals to half mv square. And when kinetic energy is equals to half mv square, so there are two factors, mass and velocity. So अगर mass constant हो, velocity constant हो, so definitely kinetic energy will also be constant. Mass of the water is constant. And moving with the constant speed. Okay, question number 1 है same paper में ही. A car of mass m is traveling along a straight horizontal road at a constant speed v. So speed is constant v traveling along a straight horizontal road. And at time t is equals to 0, the driver of the car sees an obstruction in the road ahead of the road and applies the brake. The car does not begin to decelerate at t is equals to 0. So explain what is meant by deceleration. So deceleration means negative acceleration or decrease in velocity with respect to time. Or we can write negative acceleration of the body. Okay, in part B, suggest one reason why the car does not begin to decelerate at time t is equals to 0. So at time t is
Wait,
equals
sir, can you
to
show the
0,
question?
so it is traveling along a
It
straight,
takes the driver a couple of seconds to
yes,
apply the brakes.
because reaction time matters. So when we try to apply the brake, so definitely a driver requires some time to apply a brake. So due to delay in applying brakes. And part C, figure 1.1 is the distance time graph for the car from time t is equals to 0. So t is equals to 0 से और बाकी graphical representation जो है वो represent की है. So state the property of a distance time graph that corresponds to speed
Gradient.
gradient. So basically इस क्वेश्चन में उन्होंने आपसे डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ जो गिवन है उसके बारे में पूछा कि what is the property of this distance time graph that corresponds to speed. So basically if we find out the gradient or the slope of the graph, so that will give you the speed of the body. क्वेश्चन और कॉन्सेप्ट सेम होते हैं, फ्रेजिंग चेंज करते हैं ताकि कंफ्यूजन हो सिर्फ समझने में. Now using figure 1.1, determine the initial speed v of the car. Initial speed of the car. So you have to find out the initial speed. So we just choose the value when there is a straight line in the initial stage. Like if we choose this value, very initially when there is a straight line. So this is 0.5 and this will be
24 meters per second.
a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, almost 11. You are getting answer 20. I'm getting answer 22. But definitely there is no specific point given in the question. So students will get a different range of answer. And in our marking scheme also, minimum answer is like 20.5 and maximum is 23.5 or 24. Because they are asking about initial, so try to take as early as possible in the graph. So 22 meter per second is the answer for the initial speed of the body. Okay, this is piston, this is not included, mistakenly added. Okay, a gas bubble is released. Atmospheric pressure is again same. The density of the water is 1000 kg per meter cube. The temperature of the water in the lake is constant. So temperature is constant. Pressure is given and density is given. The gas bubble rises to the surface. The volume of the gas bubble increases as it rises higher in the water. Explain why the volume of the bubble increases. So why the volume of the bubble increases? So basically a gas bubble is
The
released at
pressure
the bottom.
decreases,
Yes, because gas bubble is
and then the bubble
starting.
expands.
Yes, it is starting from the bottom. So definitely at bottom, the pressure of the liquid will be greater. But when it starts to move towards the surface, so the pressure in liquid decreases. Pressure in liquid decreases with depth. Sorry. It increases with the depth. So when bubble starts to move in upward direction or towards the surface, pressure decreases and volume increases because pressure is inversely to the volume. And the volume of the gas bubble is 0.4 centimeter cube when it is 3 meter below the surface of the lake. Calculate the volume of the gas bubble when it is 0.50 meter below the surface of the lake. So initially we have volume 1 when we have this depth, and calculate the volume of the gas bubble like a new volume when depth is 0.50 meter. So now we have to calculate when it is below the surface of the lake, the new volume. So initially we are having at 3 and next we are having at 0.5 meter. So with the help of the formula, we know pressure is inversely proportional to the volume. ठीक है, बॉयल्स लॉ के रेफरेंस से हम इसे सॉल्व करेंगे और PV इज इक्वल्स टू कांस्टेंट. तो हम दोनों तरफ कांस्टेंट का रेफरेंस लेंगे. P multiplied by V, but this P will be the total pressure. So the total pressure on the left hand side with initial volume is equals to the total pressure with the final volume. So the pressure on the left hand side will be equals to atmospheric pressure plus pressure in liquid. Density is 1000. Value of G, and the initial height is 3. and initial volume is 0.4 centimeter cube इज इक्वल्स टू अब हम इसे फाइनल के इक्वेट करेंगे अगेन वहां पर एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर प्लस डेंसिटी वैल्यू ऑफ जी हाइट इनटू वॉल्यूम दैट इज V2 सो इस तरह से हम इसे सिंपलीफाई करके और फाइनल वॉल्यूम फाइंड आउट करेंगे and it will be equals to
Sir, it's 0.5.
okay. So this is the answer of this question.